Gods Unchained finally leaked all the new set, Dread Awakening, and today I will make a tier list for each different god, ranking all the cards of the new set. I will make a video tier list for each different god, so it will be easier for you to check the god you want to see. There will be the playlist with all the video right there, and guys, in each one of these different videos, I will even give away a pack of the new set, so remember to drop a like and comment saying your favorite card for that god in each different videos. So be sure to enter in all those giveaways. And now let's jump into the death tier list. The last god tier list, death before the neutral tier list. So the first card is Uninvited Guest. Is a 2 mana, 3/2, Afterlife, shuffle 2 dread into your opponent deck. What are the dread? We can see there, dread is a 0 mana, cast when drawn, so it goes in your opponent deck, and when it is drawn it gets the effect essentially, and deal 2 damage to your god, so essentially your opponent god, and deal instead your opponent god, so it's essentially your god. So when your opponent draw this card essentially will take 2 damage, heal for 2 you, and then it will draw another card. So, Animated Guest, in my opinion, is really solid. You will play this card in the Dread deck. I don't know if you played this even in other damage death deck, because it's a... I mean, it's still, when it dies, it's still for damage and for healing, but you have to draw them. So I think this for sure gets played in the Dread deck, but probably not in the other death deck. But to be honest, is a B+, like is a pretty solid card. Uninvited, actually just B, because... yeah, B+ is maybe a bit more. Okay, Dread is the token, so we will not evaluate that. Scale Cult, Conscript, 3 mana, 4/3, roar, obliterate a Dread from your opponent deck if you do Game Blitz. I think this card is actually pretty bad, like I don't see 4/3, 3 mana, I mean it's not super bad, but see, you have even to remove a Dread and your deck is literally to put Dread in your opponent deck. I don't like a lot of this card. If it was a 3/4, maybe yes, but a 4/3, I really don't like this. I think it's actually... I mean, it's not unplayable, so I guess B- though. Catacomb Praia, 3 mana, 2/1, Dread Touch, deal 2 damage to each enemy character. This card is actually pretty strong versus all the aggro, like it's a Crystal Rain for 3 mana, but you have to kill one of your creature. At the same time, all this deck is based on Dread Touch, Afterlife and so on, so you don't mind actually to sacrifice your creature. You can even play, like, for example, a chicken for all the Dread Touch and so on, or all the sacrifice. I think this card is actually pretty solid. I don't think it's A tier though. Is pretty good, but not probably B-IG, low A. I would say though more B-IG, to be honest. So let's put B+. Draconic Priestess is 4 mana, 3/5, roar, and Ellie, shuffle a Dread into your opponent deck. So essentially every time you summon a dragon that you have this card in your board, you will put another Dread or even the roar. Is a 4 mana, 3/5. I mean, it's decent. You for sure play this card in your Dread deck. At the same time, I don't think it's amazing. Like it's pretty decent. Like you just play this in Dread deck, you don't play this in other deck. Probably in a Dragon Death deck, but so let's put to Draconic Priestess. I would say B, plain B, because it gets played, but it's nothing amazing. Pulsating Tierlist. 4 mana, can't attack, burn 2. Afterlife, summon the top other dragon of your void. This Afterlife, like it's pretty slow. It can get Slice Levi and so on. It's pretty solid for Dread Touch, like for sacrifice this creature. And you summon the other dragon of your void, top dragon. But the problem of top dragon is that it's not top mana, it's literally the dragon on the top. I think this card is actually pretty bad, like we'll never see play, to be honest, in my opinion, because the top is just so hard to have a good dragon in the top. So I think this card is actually D, although D+, because it's like not main, but it's like, I don't think it will ever see play. Dreadman's 2 mana, summon a Dreadive with frontline, set its strength and health equal to the number of Dread in your deck. So this card is obviously dependent from Dread, but I really like the Dread mechanic. I think Dread is probably the best deck of the meta, or one of the best. And it's pretty easy to actually stick a lot of Dread in your opponent deck. I think this is, on average, I would say, 5/5 for 2 mana with frontline. It can be even a lot more, although it can be even less, but I would say this card is for sure like a B, actually A-, to be honest. No, probably B+. No, A-, because it's a 2 mana, like it's a 2 mana. It's a 2 mana and is actually pretty good most of the time. Sweet Surrender, destroy the weakest enemy creature for 2 mana, destroy a creature. That touched, you can even heal your god. This is another B, A- card. Like it's really solid. For 2 mana you destroy weakest enemy creature, so you can't decide, but it's 2 mana you destroy. So if your opponent has just an Alien Elite, you literally destroy Alien Elite with 2 mana. And you can even Dread Touch, so you can sacrifice your card if you need, you can heal, and so on. Part of that, pull a card from your void to your hand. Your god takes damage equal to its mana cost. So it's 2 mana. This card, I think, is like B. It can though literally break the game with Necronomics. Like if you get Necronomics, you can use Necronomics into this, into Necronomics. So use a lot of mana and try to find a lot of combo with combo that or Rock Drake and so on. But I really don't see these. At the same time, it can be good even just like as a card without a combo, Necronomics and so on, just for even in a control, run 1 copy, because it's kind of versatile. Like you can take any card you want from all your void if you need. Like it can be a Blind one versus aggro, it can be like another Tierlist versus control and so on. So I think pet of that actually is really solid as a pet. Like there are not a lot of good pet, and I think this is pretty solid, so B+. Skeletal Ceremony, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose 2, pull to your void, retouched, draw 2 cards. To be honest, I think this card is pretty bad. Just because you can't really see, like his RNG, you don't see the 3 cards on top of your deck, so yeah, you can probably put in your void a card that you want, or I don't know, like it's just RNG. I would never run this card in my deck. I would probably just for draw 2 cards, but you still have even to dread touch. I really don't like this. I think I mean, it's not unplayable, but I think it's like C, nothing more than C. Probably C+, it can be C+, but yeah. Soul Breather, 5 mana, 5/5, roar, trigger the afterlife of friendly creature twice. This can really be good. This can really be good in some archetype where the afterlife is important, like Rock Drake, or even like there, just there, you have these, you put like this, you put for dread, like it's pretty solid, and it's a 5/5 for 5/5. Although you need the creature always like that, it's a bit hard to use the effect, but it's not even that much, and at the worst it's a 5/5. I think this is like a B+, probably, Soul Breather. It's nothing super broken, super amazing, but I think you can run this in a bunch of deck. Yeah, I would say B+. Valogene. Valogene is a legendary 4 mana for 4, roar, dread touched, afterlife, and after this creature attacks, shuffle to dread. So you for sure shuffle the roar, you for sure shuffle the afterlife most of the time. You shuffle even the dread touched if you want, so those are already 6 dread, so 12 damage, 12 healing, and even after this creature attacks, so if they don't kill it as up, you can shuffle every time other 2 dread. I think this card is no joke, I think it's S tier. Like this card is, you can see, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of effect on board, but I mean, it's still a 4/4, like it's not bad, and you literally put most of the time 12 damage and 12 healing for you. Like that's crazy, to be honest. Actually, I will say it, I think this card is actually probably, I don't know if I put other S+, but I think this card is probably, yeah, the only S+ I put. I think this card is literally the best legendary, no cap. It's super good. Although it can trick you because you don't see the effect as up, but it's really, really amazing. Obviously in Dread that, like if you play it randomly in Control that, it will be probably not that good. It's probably decent still. Sibarus, 6 mana, for 7, roar, summon a dragon from your void with mana cost 4 or less, dread touched, summon any dragon. So this card, if you play this card, is probably for the dread touched, so you can summon any dragon. So it will be the 8 mana dragon. When you get summoned, it attack everything. Lockhart probably is the name. So yeah, it's just in that deck. In that deck, it's C play. I don't know though. I don't know. I wouldn't say this is broken. I would say though, in that deck is really, like, you for sure run this card in the dragon deck. But just there, like you don't, like it is for sure not so strong as this one. But in that deck though, it can really be good. And I would say an A minus probably. Actually just A, because in that dragon deck is really good. But the problem is that you don't use out of that deck most of the time. 6 mana, 6/5, Monolith Watcher, frontline. Roar, delve a dead dragon. If a friendly creature was destroyed this turn, reduce the delve creature's mana by 2. 6 mana, 6/5 for frontline, and you delve a dead dragon. I think you don't play this in almost any deck. I mean, you still delve a card, but it's a 6 mana, 6/5, and you don't do a lot. Yeah, I think you... I mean, it's not trash, it's not like a D, because it's still 6 mana, 6/5, and you delve a dragon. But it's... I don't think this card will get C play. I think it's plain C, to be honest, this card. Nothing amazing, and not a meme, to be honest. Is pretty decent. Mass of Flame, destroy the creature with 3 mana cost or less, deal 3 damage to your god. This card literally break any aggro. Is really good. He's really good. I think he's just playing A. He's just playing A, to be honest. He's really good versus aggro. Versus control is pretty useless, but versus aggro literally probably win the game. I wouldn't put that in broken, yeah, because like versus control, as I said, is pretty useless. And versus aggro still, they can play around it. If they see that you have these, they can play a 4-mana creature, they can play some warded, and you still take even 3 damage. That is not a lot, but it's still damage that you have to take. Actually, probably A+. Like, it's still a really good card, to be honest. Carrion Nester. 2 mana, 3/2, add a random death dragon to your hand as an afterlife. I think this card is just pretty meme, like you will never play this in my opinion. So I will actually say that this is the first D of that. Actually even Pulsat in Tierlist I said D. Sand of the Rebirth is 2 mana, trigger the afterlife of a creature in your void, then obliterate that creature and you can repeat. This card is really, really good, even because you can dread touch it, like you can use the dread touched effect, so the effect, even on the creature you sacrifice. So like you can kill, for example, I don't know, Siren with this card, with the dread touched, and use the afterlife of another creature, like for example, I don't know, for example, Valojin, so you put 2 dread in your opponent deck, and then you can sleep everything with the Siren you killed. This card is amazing in literally any deck, because like any deck will have afterlife, Rockdrake have afterlife, Dead Dragon have afterlife, Dread have afterlife, Control that have afterlife of Siren, and so on. So I think this card is just in any deck, deck, and it will be good in any deck. I don't think he's S tier because he's broken. He's not broken, but he's A+. Like he's really, really, really good. Broad Parasite, 2 mana, 0/2 afterlife, summon a 4/4 Dread Dive. This card is for sure the best card for sacrifice, for Dread Touched and everything. Is even an afterlife, you can probably proc with other things. It's not bad, but I don't see making the cut in the majority of the deck to the deck. This card will be probably played in the Death Dragon deck. But yeah, I wouldn't say is amazing. I would say like it's probably B. Yeah, around B. Voidwatch Brand, so it's a 1 mana 0/4 relic, so for durability, after a friendly creature is destroyed, shuffle a dread into your opponent deck and lose 1 durability. So this is a friendly creature, so this can proc even on a Nubian, and this on a Nubian is 8 damage and 8 healing for you for 1 mana. This card is really good, and is even obviously really good even in Dread deck. I think this card you run for sure 2 copy in Dread deck, you probably run 2 copy even in a Nubian. I think this card is actually really good. Like, it's probably not broken, but is low A or high B. I think low A, because this card can combo even with Perseverance perfectly. Like you use this and Perseverance, you kill a creature with Perseverance and get already 3 Dread in your opponent deck. Like it's just an amazing combo. Dread Rising. This card is amazing. I will read that. 5 mana, give each enemy creature -6/-6, where X is the amount of dread in your opponent deck. This card destroy every aggro when you play dread. This card literally carry dread. This card is amazing. It's literally, see what I will do. This card is literally S. I will not put S+, just because it's still, you still have to put the dread in the deck. But still, like it's pretty easy to stack 5-6 dread in your opponent deck in the dread deck. And for 5 mana, you set -6/-6, or trust me, you can literally reach like 10-15 dread. So this is literally a board wipe for everything. And this set is not damage. So it means that we'll kill protected creature, warded creature, protected warder. This card can literally kill Polymnia. Like, I'm not joking. If someone play Polymnia, until 9 mana, probably at 9 mana, you will have so many dread in their deck that you can literally one-shot Polymnia with 5 mana. And guys, this is enemy creature, just enemy. So you can play even this in an aggro dread deck, that you play all your dread, all your creature, and in 1 turn at 5 mana, you just board wipe all their board and keep yours. So actually, let me change this. I think this card is just amazing. S+. That's amazing. Yeah, the only problem is that you have to stack some dread, but I mean, in a dread deck, it's broken. In not a dread deck, you probably don't play this. Actually, you can play this even in a non-dread deck, where you just play just a bunch of dread, like this, because even if it's like a 5 mana, -3/-3, it's still an amazing card, so. Dread Hive is a 3 mana 4/4 frontline. I don't know if this is a token. It's probably a token, or if it's not a token. I mean, it's decent. Yeah, it's actually higher stats, so it's decent, but it's nothing amazing. So let's put like B+. 6 mana of 2 mines. Pick one, deal 3 damage to each enemy character, so even the god. Or summon the strongest creature from your void and give it blitz. Dread Touch do both. So this is still for the dragon that like you can summon the dragon from the void and so on. I mean, it's actually pretty good because you can even just 3 damage to the enemy character is kind of versatile. I actually really like this. I think it's actually A tier. A minus probably, but it's really good. Like you can deal 3 damage to all your opponent, even into their face, or summon the strongest creature from your void, or even do both for the Thatcher. That probably you will do this the majority of time because you kill one of your creature that you want to forget the best creature in your void, so it's worth. 3 mana Gaping Pursuer. At the end of your turn, shuffle a Dread into your opponent deck. This card is really good. Playing really good. I think is A minus. Gaping Pursuer. Actually, probably B+. Let's put A minus, B+, I don't know. Because this card is for sure played in every Dread deck, no cap, and probably even in a lot of other Death deck, because it's just a 3/4 that every turn will put a Dread in your opponent deck, and they have to deal with this because it's automatic, so it's actually a really, really solid card in my opinion. Because, as I said, you will probably not see the effect of Dread as up, but guys, those are still cards that will go into their deck, and those cards will make 2 damage and they heal you for 2. So, trust me, when you start to get a lot of Dread, it will get funny for you and not for your opponent. And now, this God Power instead we will see in the neutral tier list that will be the last tier list, so the next one. This was the tier list. Remember to check the tier list of these 2 other gods, or even check the playlist with all the other tier lists. Tell me what you think about my rating, and I guess see you to the next video.